What's up, guys? Big Papa Drock back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. It's so good to see you guys. Hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you may be. And I am having a great day, and we have got a great video for you today because Plarium has hit up all the content creators and they said, hey, content creators, we'd love for you guys to re-rank some champions. Because if you didn't know, or re-rate them, I should say, if you didn't know, Plarium reset all of the champion ratings in the game. So first and foremost, this is awesome. I am so glad that they did this because these champion ratings have basically been around for some champions since day one. And as you know, a lot has changed in almost 6 years of Raid being around. So it's awesome that we get a chance to re-rank these champions. I think this is super beneficial because it gives new players an idea of what champions are really good. It gives experienced players an opportunity to maybe revise where a champion that might have been great in the past, but the meta changed and they might need to be looked at for a buff. Or alternatively, maybe the meta changed and a champion that wasn't as good is now suddenly good because of a new piece of content that got into the game as well. And then, of course, the other big part of this is, obviously, when you're putting ratings out there, if a champion specifically has a bunch of maybe lower scores, Plarium can look at them and say, hey, you know what? Maybe we should buff that champion next. So kudos to Plarium for doing this. I honestly think you guys should reset these ratings on a yearly basis. Like literally every year, reset them. Or when you buff a champion, reset them right away. So that people can come in and give their thoughts on how a champion is after a buff. But that's just what I think. Maybe you guys think differently. Let me know in the comments down below. So we're gonna rate a couple different champions today. We're gonna start with rating some of the positive ones. And we're gonna start with specifically some champions that recently got a buff in the last year or two that I think was a really successful buff, a buff that I like. So let's start over here in sacred order with the one and only Siegfried. Now, as we know, I did a video in the past about how Siegfried was one of the worst mythicals in the game. And then they buffed him. And boy, oh boy, he certainly is not a bad mythical anymore. Now, this is a really interesting buff because it totally changed what he did and just made him an insane damage dealer. I thought they were going to change more about his kit, but really all they had to do to make him viable was just up his damage. So it wasn't a super involved buff, but it was a very impactful buff. So let's take a look at the reviews. Arena offense, definitely a 5. Campaign locations, a 5. Faction Wars, a 5. Arena defense, a 5. Minotaur's Labyrinth, a 5, because he helps you farm it basically faster than anything. Void Keep, Spirit Keep, Dragon's Lair, yeah, I can argue he's a 5 there too. Magic Keep, sure, why not? Now, interestingly, on Hydra, they've only got him as a 4.2 so far. This is obviously after the reset. I'm gonna say he's a 5 on Hydra too. For the average player, I think he's a 5. Like, yeah, there might be champions that are more Hydra specific, but he can do a ton of damage. He could hypothetically keep your team alive if everyone else dies. I think he's a 5. I think he's a 5. Honestly, I think he's a 5 in literally almost every piece of content. Spider's Den, he's definitely a 5. I mean, just blowing people up and getting more turn meter and getting to go again is never a bad thing. Demon Lord, Demon Lord, he may be a 4 because he's going to be harder to speed tune. You'd have to disable his A2. So I'm actually comfortable with a 4 here. So we'll go 4 there. Ice Golem's Peak, I think he's a 5. He keeps you alive, hypothetically. Iron Twins Fortress, 5. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like this champion is legitimately potentially a 5 everywhere. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm being too easy. Let me know what you guys think of Siegfried, but I just feel like he's so good. He doesn't have a lot of multi-hits, so maybe on Fire Knight's Castle we'll go 4. Force Keep, he's bad affinity, so I'm going to go 4. Chimera, there are other damage dealers that make more sense, but again, for the average player, I mean, I feel like he's a 5 for the vast majority of people out there. I'm going 5. Sand Devil's Necropolis, we're going to go 5 there as well. And Phantom Shogun's Grove, we're definitely going to go 5 because I've seen him blow those things up in high-end teams. Long story short, this was a super successful buff. It maybe wasn't what I envisioned, but he absolutely is viable in every area of content nowadays, and his ratings reflect that. So well done, Plarium. We're starting off with a high note with our boy Siegfried the Nephilim. Now let's take a look at another champion that I once called one of the worst champions in the entire game until he was buffed. And it's the one, the only, my boy Jing Wong. Yes, Jing Wong. I pulled 4 or 5 of this guy. I had a +4 Jing Wong. And as you can imagine, I was very sad about that. But then Plarium buffed him and actually made him useful. So what did they do with this kit? They gave him, I think, an ability to strip all buffs as well as block buffs, landing. I can't remember specifically what they did, but it was a viable buff in my opinion, and it definitely made him better in more areas of content. And then also he has this ability to cleanse as well, people that get feared, true feared, etc. So I think this was a solid buff. Let's go in and take a look at the ratings. I'm honestly, I think he's going to be a 5 for Hydra. Block buffs is massive. Decreased accuracy helps. You know, you can't go wrong with that. So I think he's a great Hydra champion now. I think he's a great Faction Wars champion. Arena offense, I'm going to go, because I'm looking at this through an endgame player's lens, I'm going to say a 3. I think he's good. I don't think he's great. Same for arena defense. I don't really think you're going to see him in high-end arena. Chimera, he could come into play, but I don't think he's as good as some of the others. We're going to go 4. Campaign locations, I'm going a 3. Magic Keep, your blocking buffs could block the shield. We'll go 4. I'm fine with a 4. Dragon's Lair, you're cleansing but not poison, I don't think, right? So block buffs could block the attack. I'm gonna go 3 on this. I don't think he's really like the best Dragon's Lair champion. Correct me if I'm wrong, by the way. Void Keep, you know, I don't really think he's super special for that. He's good. He's fine. Force Keep, same kind of thing. He's a void. Spirit Keep, same kind of thing. He's not really bringing anything that's super important for those keeps. Demon Lord, I think this is a good rating at 3. Ice Golem's Peak, decrease accuracy, you know, for freeze. Yeah, I'm still going to go 3. I like this. Minotaur's Labyrinth, I'm going 2. I don't think you're going to, like, you're not, actually, I'm going 1. You're not bringing him into Minotaur's Labyrinth to do anything. We're going 1. He's not there to do damage. He's not going to help you with that dungeon. Fire Knight's Castle, block buffs. You're not getting decreased speed. We're going to go 1. I don't think he's good for that. Spider's Den, you know, block buffs again. I'm going to go 2. I don't think he's super specialized there. Iron Twins Fortress, I'm going to go 2. Sand Devil's Necropolis, I'm going 2, and Phantom Shogun Grove, I'm going 2. So that's what I'm rolling with. He is a great Hydra champion, though, now. Like, they gave him a place in the game. This is what I would call a successful buff, in that prior to the buff, he really was genuinely probably one of the worst champions in the entire game, and now he actually has a place. Is he the best champion in the game? No. But if you get him on your account, and you don't have someone that does what he does, now he actually has viable use. So this was a good overall buff. Those are my ratings. That's how I see it. Jing Wong, you're no longer the worst. You have a place. Not bad. Yeah, you know, strength and buff, not bad. Not bad whatsoever. Okay, who else do we have here? What's another successful buff that they have done that I really liked? Let me think here. Let me take a peek around at champions that got a sick buff. Or we could just rate a champion that's broken and that's incredible. How about that? How about we rate one that's like super, super, super good to keep the good vibes flowing? In fact, why not? I know exactly who we're going to rate. It's our girl Marichka. Everything's a 5. I don't even have to tell you why. This champion is one of the best in the entire game, bar none, in every piece of content. You can use her everywhere. She deserves a unanimous 5 rating. She does it all. She cleanses, she heals, she, you know, revives passively, essentially. But there is not a single area of content that Marichka is not top tier. So she is long overdue to get all 5s from your boy. Congratulations, Marichka. You deserve it, all 5s. And you know what? Since we're here, why don't we do her friend as well? Why don't we do Taurus? Yeah, we know he's 5s as well, and he's 5s everywhere, guys. There's never a reason not to rate this guy a 5. You can put him in Demon Lord, and you can 1-key Demon Lord if you have Marichka as well with that synergy. I mean, there's literally no area of content that Taurus isn't disgusting. You could even use him for Fire Knight's Castle. I'm putting him in a 5 everywhere. So once again, still one of the most broken, insanely strong champs in the entire game. To me, one of the few champs that deserves a 5 every single location, and that's what he's gonna get. So there's some positive vibes for you. But now we're gonna get into some champions that I want to see buffed. And you know what? We're gonna keep it right here in Bannerlords with our good friend Raglan. Now, her reviews are pretty rough compared to where they used to be prior to being reset. But when I think of Void champions that need a buff, Raglan is near the top of my list. And it really comes down to just changing how her cleanse works, giving it a 3-turn cooldown. The heal shouldn't be based on her attack. This definitely should change. And maybe, you know, giving her a little more spice on the A1 or maybe another ability. I don't know. But Raglan could be an incredible champion because of how crazy her revive is, but she needs a little help with a better cleanse that gives her some more value. So I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to say Raglan, as she stands currently, definitely is still not bad for Faction Wars. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say she's very good because she is. If you need to complete Faction Wars and you get a Raglan, you're going to be completing Faction Wars. But I will say for everywhere else, I'm going straight ones. And I don't want to be negative, but I'm only doing this because I really want to see her buffed. And I really, really, really feel that, you know, that she needs help in these areas. If her cleanse weren't based on her attack, that would make, or her heal, I should say, that would make such a big difference because you're not going to build her with attack. So this is harsh. This is the harshest I'll be. And to be completely fair, she's not useless in these areas, but I do want to make sure that her ratings reflect the fact that she desperately needs some love. So Plarium, don't take it personally. You know, I did give her a 4 on Faction Wars, which is better than the norm. But I do want to see her get buffed, and she really needs it. So give her some love, guys. What do you think? Am I crazy, or am I on point for asking for a buff for Raglan? The answer is I'm definitely on point. Oh, speaking, one more here. Come on, our boy Septimus. Our boy Septimus used to be one of the absolute best champions in this game with an enemy max HP, and he has just gotten absolutely cooked with updates over the years. So we need to get some love for our boy. We're going 2s. We're going straight 2s, guys, because our boy Septimus has needed some love for a long, long, long time. Enemy max HP isn't as viable as it used to be. It needs a little bit of a rework, I think, especially with how some of the stronger champions have come into the game that basically outdamage enemy max HP without even trying. Like, think like Toshiro. So I think they need to raise the cap on enemy max HP in certain areas of the game. But no matter what, they need to revisit our boy Septimus, and we need to give him some love to make him either more viable in dungeons or alternatively more viable in arena, because his kit is hurting. And to be fair, Septimus is a champion that's been around a long time. So this is one that I would love to see them touch. One of my first champions, actually. And speaking of my first champion, why don't we do that? Why don't we take a look at him? My first ever legendary champion in Raid Shadow Legends was actually Lord Shazar. Lord Shazar. And now this is funny because Lord Shazar, I would have called for a heavy buff in the past, but he's actually, because of how Stoneskin has come into the game, he's actually more viable than he used to be, which is kind of cool without even needing to be buffed. And really it comes down to these bombs. But that being said, I do think they need to look at a little bit of this because his bombs are very tough to use because they require 100% crit rate. And I'd love for them to maybe change that and make his bombs, you know, pop off for a different reason that isn't a critical attack. So I still do think he needs some love. I do think he needs a little bit of help, but he's not a horrific champion. And I would say he's a 4 in arena currently. Arena defense, I'm going to say a 3. You're not really going to see him there. Faction Wars, I think he could definitely help you. We'll say a 3 in Faction Wars. Fire Knight, he does have a triple hit A1, so I'll go with a 4. Campaign, 3. Demon Lord, bombs aren't really good. We're going to go 2. Magic Keep, bad affinity. We're going to go 1. Hydra and bombs really aren't useful here, so we'll go 2. Sand Devil's Necropolis, I don't see him being helpful there. Void Keep, I mean, you could say acceptable. Like he'll get you in there. Dragon's Lair, again, bombs really aren't, but bombs are an arena thing, you know what I mean? Or maybe Bommel, so Doom Tower. Doom Tower on here? I can't remember. No, Doom Tower isn't on here, is it? No, it's not. We need to add Doom Tower to this. Add Doom Tower. Minotaurs, yeah, he could certainly help you in that. He could clear that. Ice Golem will go 2. Iron Twins Fortress, he cleanses debuff, so I'm going 1. Chimera, I can't remember if bombs are some aspect of unlocking challenges. We'll just go 1. We'll go 2. We'll go 2. Force Keep. Force Keep, he's good affinity, so we'll go 2. Spirit Keep, fine affinity, we'll go 2. Spider's Den, go 2. Phantom Shogun's Grove will go 2 here. So really, he's an arena specialist, but I think he needs a little bit more on the arena Plarium. So maybe take a look at him at some point. I wouldn't put him at the top of my list to buff, but I think he could rework his kit a little bit. Now, let's talk about some champions that I want to see buffed more than anyone else in the game. Who we got here? Oh, yes. Allele. Oof, hurting. Our boy is hurting. This has to be one of the lowest rankings in the entire game. And here's the thing. His kit really isn't bad. This is an example of a champion who has a really solid kit that doesn't need much reworking, but his damage output is just really terrible, and he's let down by that. So for that reason, Allele, I love your kit. I think you could maybe do a couple things in the kit to make it a little bit better, but it's not bad at all. Maybe make this a little bit easier where he just strips buffs in general and then places block buffs. And maybe that's how you fix it. But his kit is not bad, but his damage is. And for that reason, he's not useless in Arena. He's not useless. You can actually do things with him, but his damage is just so bad that he really does need some help. So Arena offense will go 2. Arena defense, I don't think you want him in Arena defense. Faction Wars, again, he's not useless. He's definitely not useless in campaign. So it's a 2 for these. Though I understand why people are putting these ratings, because again, they want to see him buffed, and I want to see him buffed too, because he is a champion that could be really, really solid, but without more damage, he's just going to let you down. So some of these areas we can go to. We'll go 1. Void Keep, Fire Knight's Castle. No, I'm not bringing him in there. Dragon's Lair, no. Minotaur, we'll go 2. Iron Twins Fortress will go 1. Phantom Shogun's Grove will go 1. Force Keep 1. Spirit Keep will go with we'll go with a 1. We'll go with a 1. That's how I feel. Allele definitely needs a buff. I honestly could literally do every champion in the game doing this. And then I would hope that Plarium would pull this video up and be like, let's see what Drock said. And we'll buff as many as we can, because we know that he likes to get feisty with us about champion buffs, which I certainly do, as they know. Let's pick another mythical, huh, guys? Let's pick another mythical. They buffed Frolny. We won't touch that one. What's one they haven't buffed yet that I really want to see get reworked? There's a couple. They buffed Aphodus, and it wasn't a bad buff either. Calamitous is one I certainly want to see buffed. And also Ashnar. Yes. Gallius, though. We need to do Gallius. The Rooster. Yes, where is he at? He's hurting. Now, I've already rated him. So, I don't know what I specifically did, but let's see. I rated him a 1. Did I rate him a 1 everywhere? I might have. I think I did. Yes, I was pretty harsh. Okay, in the interest of fairness, let's go back and let's rework this a little bit. He's not a 1. So this is the only thing, too. I really think they should change this to, like, if 3 should be average, 4 should be good, 5 should be excellent, right? This scale is a little too nice. 2 is not acceptable, right? 2 needs to be something like below average. So let's have average, below average, bad, below average, average, good, great. That's how you should do it on a 5-point scale. Because is he really acceptable? No, he's not acceptable currently. He needs a buff. He definitely needs a buff. But because I am a fair individual, I will say a 2 for Hydra in his first form. Faction Wars, I'm going to say a 2 again. I was a little harsh. Arena offense, I definitely am keeping it at a 1. Campaign, we'll say 2. Chimera, we're going to keep it at a 1. Iron Twins, No, we're keeping him down low. Arena defense, definitely keeping him at a 1. Minotaur will give him a 2. Man, I really took it out on my poor boy Gallius here. Go 2 for Demon Lord again. The first form, you get the enemy max HP, which could come in handy for some people, especially the counterattack. Spider's Den, I don't think he's good. Sand Devils, no. Dragon's Lair, I think we can keep the rest of these at 1. Yeah, I'm comfortable. We're keeping the rest at 1. So this is another champion that could use a good buff. I'm not going to do the rankings for him. I'll just point them out because we're in here. I'll just quickly tell you them. The other one would be Ashnar. And we'll end on a high note, by the way. We'll end on a positive note on another champion that I really like. Yeah, our poor boy Ashnar. Ashnar's hurting here, guys. Ashnar's hurting. Quickly, 2, because the HP burn. Actually, let's change that to maybe 3, 1, 1. Arena offense, maybe a niche use versus Gizmak, but not the greatest. Yeah, Ashnar definitely needs a buff. We're going low on our boy here. But hopefully they see this and they say, hey, let's put him on the list. Let's put some of these mythicals on the list. Nobody wants to pull a bad mythical, right? Everybody wants to pull Nice, who's a straight 5, by the way. All right, or could be. Okay, that's how we feel there. All right, let's end on a good note, though. What's another champion that is really solid, or one that they buffed that they really did a good job with? Let me take a look here quickly. Who have they buffed recently that really they got right? I know who they nailed it with. I know the exact person. Yes, this is the way. Where is he? It's the one and only Gurgle. Maya Gurgle. What a great buff. Ending on a high note, this is an example of a buff that was so well done across the board. I just want to talk about it to give more encouragement to Plarium, because this was a buff that wasn't just damage. It was a kit and damage buff together. And what a fantastic job they did with this buff. And it starts with the fact that they made it so that he strips all buffs instead of one random one. Huge upgrade. He also places decreased defense on everybody and the extra hit as well. I can't remember how they changed this. Maybe it was the decreased defense place. Something. I think it was the decreased defense, but I think they changed this to make this hit harder for sure. And then I can't remember if they upped the damage on the freeze, but the other big thing they did here was they changed his aura. He had a 44% ally attack in faction crypts aura that just really didn't help him. He's an arena champion, and they gave him literally one of the best arena speed auras in the game. This is the definition of a fantastic buff. And you know what? The ratings reflect it. The ratings reflected. He's an arena champion. We need all the arena champions we can get. I mean, I'm saying that because I'm an arena player, of course. But man, what a slam dunk. Well done, Plarium. Just another excellent showcase of a really well done buff. Whoever did this really hit it out of the park. So if you guys ever need advice, take it from whoever did this buff, because this guy nailed it. 5 in arena offense. You could even say 5 in arena defense. 5 in faction wars now. Definitely a 5 in campaign locations. In the Void Keep. Burping over here. In the Spirit Keep, sure. In the Force Keep, he's Void. In the Magic Keep, he strips buffs. Now, Hydra, he's not a Hydra champion. That's not what he does, and that's totally fine. You don't need a champion to be incredible in every area of the game to be useful. You just want them to be incredible in a couple areas of the game. And he certainly is, which is why this was a great buff. He's not a Demon Lord champion. That's totally fine. Minotaur's Labyrinth, he could absolutely do that. That's a 5. Chimera, same thing. Ice Golem's Peak. Nah, not really. Don't see him rocking it there. Spider's Den, you could certainly use the freeze. I'm going to go 3. If you need to stop them from attacking. Sand Devil's Necropolis, I don't think you're going to put him in there. Dragon's Lair, 2. Fire Knight's Castle, he's have a triple hit A1, but that's only if you get the freeze, so that's going to be like a 1. Iron Twins, we'll go with 1. Nah, we'll go 2. And then Phantom Shogun's Grove, we'll go with a 1. But you know what? Even though these bottom rankings are bad, these top rankings are so good, and this is what you want from a champion, guys. You just want to be able to say, hey, you know what? I want to battle Arena. I got Gergo. He's phenomenal in that area. That's my guy for Arena. And again, Plarium, you crushed it with this buff. And you crushed it with this exercise, frankly. I'm really happy that whoever thought of doing this for the community, of just resetting these ratings. Because for years, I was thinking in my head, man, we really should get a chance to re-rate these champions. So much has changed. Like, people need to know. And it's nice to have a chance to look through here and to give some opinions. So hopefully I didn't make it too hard on you guys. I know there's a lot of champions in the game. There's a lot of champions to buff. But my hope is that Plarium sees these videos that content creators make and gives them a better idea of who they could start buffing, hopefully faster or more at a time, you know, maybe 5 at a time. Just saying, Plarium. Just thinking. So guys, let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of the ratings I gave? Do you agree with them? Do you disagree? And what do you think of the champions I selected? Obviously, there are hundreds, so I could never get through all of them. I'd love to see some of the champions you really like in the game that you think either got fantastic buffs or that you just think are really good, and maybe some of the champions that you also think need some love as well. So give some suggestions down in the comments. Plarium's definitely going to see this video because it's something they specifically asked for. So let's give them some positive feedback, and let's give them maybe some constructive feedback on champions they could try to address. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this. I certainly did. Thank you again so much. Let's submit this rating to make it official for our boy Gergo, our sweet Gergo. And anyway, I can't help but do the voice. Anyway, guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and I'll catch you all soon. Big Papa Drock, out!